This billionaire's son throws his ticket at Judge Caprio, but he later regrets everything. The courtroom doors open at exactly 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning in Providence. Miss Reyes, the clerk, calls all to rise as Judge Frank Caprio enters and takes the bench. The judge asks for the next case. Miss Reyes reads from her docket, Case 2025-TR9826, the City versus Ethan Ward. A young man approaches the bench, 23 years old. Ethan Ward pulls a folded citation from his pocket, glances at it with visible disdain, and tosses it onto the bench like a tip at a valet stand. "Here," Ethan says, "my dad pays your salary. Let's make this quick." The courtroom freezes. Officer D'Angelo, standing near the door, shifts his weight. Miss Reyes stops typing. Two spectators in the back row exchange wide-eyed glances. Judge Caprio's voice is calm, measured, surgical. "Pick that up." "Excuse me?" Ethan replies. "The citation. Pick it up and hand it to the clerk properly." Ethan stares at the judge. 3 seconds pass. 5, 7. "Then perhaps your father will pay for your lesson too," Judge Caprio says quietly. "Money can buy cars, not character." Subscribe if you're over 40 and still believe respect never expires. Ethan hesitates, then picks up the citation and places it on the clerk's desk without a word. His jaw is tight. His confidence has cracked, but not shattered, not yet. Miss Reyes clears her throat and reads the charges aloud. Case 2025-TR9826. Charges: reckless driving in congested traffic, verbal harassment of another driver, disorderly conduct in courtroom for throwing the citation. Judge Caprio looks at Ethan. "Mr. Ward, do you have legal representation today?" A woman in a navy suit stands. "Olivia Tran, defense counsel for Mr. Ward, Your Honor." "Miss Tran, is your client prepared to address these charges?" "Your Honor, we're prepared to pay all applicable fines immediately and close this matter today." Judge Caprio sets his pen down. "Courtrooms don't take tips, Miss Tran. We'll review the evidence. Sit down." Miss Tran hesitates, then sits. The judge flips through the file in front of him. "There's a notation here. Mr. Ward received a prior traffic warning 6 months ago for aggressive lane changes near the Thayer Street exit. No citation issued. Officer's discretion. Mr. Ward, do you remember that stop?" Ethan shrugs. Vaguely. "It was nothing." "Nothing. So you learned nothing." Judge Caprio closes the folder. The prior warning is entered as pattern context. It won't be used as independent basis for punishment, but it shows this isn't your first time driving like the road belongs to you. Prior traffic warning logged. May 2024, aggressive lane changes, verbal advisement only. Judge Caprio leans back. "Mr. Ward, walk me through what happened on the morning of October 22nd. Ethan shifts his weight. "I was driving on Main Street. Traffic was heavy. Some old guy in a beat-up Honda cut me off. I honked. He brake-checked me, so I went around him and taught him a lesson." "Taught him a lesson. Explain what that means." "I got in front of him and slowed down. Let him know he can't just cut people off." "You don't teach lessons from behind a horn, Mr. Ward. You escalated a traffic situation into harassment. What happened next?" "He pulled over. I kept going. Then a cop pulled me over like I did something wrong." Judge Caprio writes a note. "You kept going. But Officer Vega's report says you shouted something at the other driver before leaving. What did you shout?" Ethan looks at his attorney. She nods slightly. He exhales. "I might have said something like, 'Learn to drive, Grandpa.'" "Grandpa." "Yeah, or something like that." Judge Caprio picks up a witness statement. Henry Cole, the other driver, is a 78-year-old retired veteran. He says you called him Grandpa Traffic and told him to retire his car. Is that accurate? "I don't remember exactly. I was mad." "You were mad, so you mocked an elderly veteran for driving too slowly in congested traffic." Ethan doesn't answer. Pattern interrupt. Quote from Henry Cole's written statement, "He called me Grandpa Traffic and told me I should retire my car. I served this country for 22 years. I've never been spoken to that way on a public street." Judge Caprio gestures to Officer D'Angelo. "Call Officer Rafael Vega to the stand." Officer Vega enters from the side door, raises his right hand, and swears in. He takes the stand. Mid-30s, calm demeanor, crisp uniform. "Officer Vega, you responded to the incident on Main and Elm on October 22nd. Please describe what you observed." "Yes, Your Honor. At approximately 10:09 a.m. I was on patrol westbound on Main Street when I observed a silver Audi sedan aggressively cut in front of an older Honda Civic near the intersection of Elm. The Audi driver then reduced speed significantly, forcing the Honda to brake. The Honda pulled to the curb. The Audi driver leaned out his window and shouted something I couldn't fully hear, then accelerated away. I initiated a traffic stop 3 blocks later. What was the defendant's demeanor during the stop?" "Dismissive, Your Honor. He stated the other driver cut him off first and that he was teaching him a lesson. When I asked for his account, he said, 'Old guy should learn when to get off the road.' I informed him that reckless driving and verbal harassment are both violations. He laughed and said, 'Good luck with that.'" Judge Caprio pauses. "Officer Vega, did you interpret his tone as threatening or mocking?" "Mocking, Your Honor. He treated the stop like an inconvenience he could dismiss." "Let's hear it. Officer Harris, cue the body cam audio, just the relevant section." There's a brief hiss of static. Then Ethan's voice, sharp and dismissive. "Old guy should learn when to get off the road. Good luck with that." Judge Caprio lets the silence sit for 5 full seconds. "Mr. Ward, did you make that statement to Officer Vega?" I was frustrated. "That's not a denial. Did you say it?" "Yeah." "Good luck with that." "What did you mean by that?" "Nothing. Just words." "Words mean something, Mr. Ward." Officer Vega interpreted it as mockery. I interpret it as contempt for lawful authority. Words matter. Timestamp: 10 hours, 12 minutes, and 34 seconds, an M body cam audio excerpt logged. If you've ever met someone who mistook wealth for wisdom, like this video. Judge Caprio turns to the clerk. "Miss Reyes, the file mentions security camera footage from the intersection. Do we have that ready?" "Yes, Your Honor. Loaded and ready to play." "Show it now. Full sequence, no editing." The courtroom monitor flickers on. The timestamp reads 10 hours, 8 minutes, and 47 seconds a.m. The camera angle shows Main Street looking east toward Elm. Traffic is moderate. A silver Audi is visible in the left lane. An older Honda is in the right lane, signaling to merge left. At 10 hours, 8 minutes, and 52 seconds, the Audi accelerates and cuts sharply in front of the Honda, forcing it to brake. The Honda's brake lights flash. The Audi slows deliberately, almost to a crawl. The Honda brakes again. At 10 hours, 9 minutes, and 1 second, the Honda pulls to the curb. The Audi pulls alongside. The driver's window rolls down. Ethan leans out. His mouth moves. The Honda driver, Henry Cole, sits motionless, hands on the wheel. At 10 hours, 9 minutes, and 9 seconds, the Audi accelerates and leaves the frame. Judge Caprio lets the footage run for 3 more seconds in silence, then nods to Miss Reyes. She stops the playback. The courtroom is utterly quiet. "Cameras don't take sides," Judge Caprio says. "They take truth." He looks at Ethan. "Mr. Ward, the footage shows you cutting in front of Mr. Cole's vehicle, forcing him to brake twice, then pulling alongside to shout at him before leaving. Does that match your memory?" Ethan's face is pale. "I guess." "You guess. The footage is clear. Yes or no, did you cut in front of his car?" "Yes." "Did you slow down deliberately to block him?" "I was making a point." "Yes or no?" "Yes." "Did you shout at him before driving away?" "Yes." pattern, interrupt. 3 admissions on the record, cutting off, blocking, verbal harassment. Judge Caprio picks up another document. Miss Reyes, there's a notation in the file about phone contact prior to this hearing. Can you read that into the record? Miss Reyes flips to a marked page. Yes, Your Honor. 2 phone calls and 1 voicemail received from a number registered to Ward Global Holdings legal office. First call logged at 8:17 a.m. on October 23rd. Second call at 11:42 a.m. on October 24th. Voicemail left at 3:09 p.m. on October 24th. Play the voicemail. A professional male voice fills the courtroom, smooth and controlled. This message is for the Providence Municipal Court regarding Case 2025-TR9826. This is Ward Global Holdings Legal Office. We're calling on behalf of Gordon Ward regarding his son's traffic matter. Mr. Ward requests that this citation be dismissed administratively before it proceeds to a formal hearing. Please contact our office at your earliest convenience to arrange resolution. The voicemail ends. Judge Caprio looks at Ethan. Mr. Ward, did you ask your father to have his legal office call this court? I told him I got a ticket. I didn't tell him to call, but you expected him to. Ethan doesn't answer. Influence arrived before remorse did, Judge Caprio says quietly. Timeline summary displayed on the monitor. October 22, 10:09 a.m. Incident occurs. October 22, 10:12 a.m. Traffic stop. October 22, 10:31 a.m. Citation issued. October 23, 8:17 a.m. First call from Ward Holdings Legal. October 24, 11:42 a.m. Second call. October 24, 3:09 p.m. Voicemail left, requesting dismissal. Should parents ever step in for adult kids' mistakes? Tell us in the comment and help new parents, please. Judge Caprio picks up another sheet. Miss Reyes, there's also a text message screenshot submitted by Officer Vega. It was visible on the defendant's phone screen during the traffic stop. Mr. Ward gave verbal consent for it to be photographed as part of the incident report. Can you read it? Yes, Your Honor. Text message sent from Ethan Ward's phone to a contact labeled Marcus. Timestamp 10:37 a.m. October 22nd. Message reads, Some old vet blocked me on Main. Gave him a lecture. Got pulled over, but Dad's team will fix it. All good. Ethan's jaw clenches. Judge Caprio leans forward. Let me map this for you, Mr. Ward. Incident at 10:09. Officer stops you at 10:12. Citation issued at 10:31. You text Marcus at 10:37, 6 minutes after the citation, and you're already confident your father's team will fix it. First call from your father's legal office arrives the next morning. Someone moved very fast. I didn't ask him to. You didn't have to. You told Marcus not to worry because your dad would handle it. That's not confidence in your innocence, Mr. Ward. That's confidence in your father's intervention. Olivia Tran stands. Your Honor, my client is not responsible for actions taken by his father's office without his direct knowledge or instruction. Miss Tran, the text shows intent. He expected intervention. He communicated that expectation. The calls followed, pattern established. Timeline ledger displayed. 10:09 a.m. Incident. 10:12 a.m. Stop initiated. 10:31 a.m. Citation issued. 10:37 a.m. Defendant texts, Dad's team will fix it. 8:17 a.m. Next day, first call from Ward Holdings Legal. 11:42 a.m. Next day, second call. 3:09 p.m. Next day, voicemail requesting dismissal. Olivia Tran stands again. Your Honor, given Mr. Ward's father's prominent position in the business community, We respectfully request that any further proceedings be handled with discretion. Public exposure could create unnecessary complications for Miss Ward's family and business interests. Judge Caprio sets his pen down. Miss Tran, Sunlight keeps records honest. This case stays public. If your client's conduct can't survive scrutiny, that's a problem with the conduct, not the scrutiny. He turns to Ethan. I'm going to ask you 3 yes or no questions. Did you drive recklessly by cutting off Henry Cole's vehicle and deliberately slowing to block him? Ethan hesitates. Yes. Did you verbally harass Mr. Cole by calling him Grandpa Traffic and telling him to retire his car? Yes. Did you throw your citation at this bench and tell me your father pays my salary? 5 seconds. 7, 10, 12. Yes. Those 12 seconds were how long it took for entitlement to collapse under the weight of the truth. Judge Caprio leans back. Mr. Ward, I've noticed something. When you brag, you're 23 old enough to mock a veteran, old enough to dismiss a police officer, old enough to throw paper at a judge. But when you're asked to explain yourself, you're suddenly 13. I was mad. I was frustrated. I didn't mean it. You're 23 when you boast, 13 when you apologize. Pick one. Ethan stares at the floor. Which one are you today, Mr. Ward? 23. Then answer like it for the rest of this hearing. Judge Caprio opens his bench book and begins to read from his notes. Here are my findings. The evidence is overwhelming and internally consistent. Officer Vega's body cam audio confirms your dismissive statements. Security camera footage from Main and Elm confirms you cut off Henry Cole's vehicle, blocked him deliberately, and shouted at him before fleeing. Your own text message confirms you expected your father's intervention. The call log confirms that intervention was attempted within hours. Your admissions on the stand confirm every element of the charges. He pauses. This court does not weigh cases based on family wealth or corporate influence. Arrogance is a luxury no law accepts. Evidence summary ledger displayed on monitor. Body cam audio. Dismissive tone. Mocking language. Security footage. Reckless lane change. Deliberate blocking. Verbal confrontation. Text message. Expectation of paternal intervention. Call log. 2 calls, 1 voicemail from Ward Holdings Legal. Timeline corroboration. Incident to text to calls within 24 hours. Defendant admissions. 3 yes answers on the record. Judge Caprio turns a page. The base fines total $980. Reckless driving in congested traffic, $450. Verbal harassment of another driver, $330. Disorderly conduct in courtroom, $200. Ethan exhales sharply. Olivia Tran writes something on her legal pad. However, Judge Caprio continues, I'm suspending $400 of that total contingent on your full and timely completion of a restorative accountability plan. If you complete it with integrity, that portion is waived. If you don't, it's reinstated in full, and you'll owe the complete $980. He looks directly at Ethan. Here's what the plan requires. First, you will deliver a public apology to Henry Cole in person, not through your attorney, not through your father's office. You will meet him face to face if he agrees to see you. You will apologize in your own words and explain what you learned. If Mr. Dare, Cole declines to meet, you will write the apology, mail it, and this court will confirm receipt. Second, you will complete 200 hours of community service with the City Veterans Support Office. You'll assist with outreach, transportation, coordination, and benefits navigation. No press coverage. No photo opportunities. No press releases from Ward Global Holdings. Just work. Third, you will deliver 3 public service talks to young drivers at local high schools on the topic Respect on the Road. You'll explain what happened, what you did wrong, and what you learned. The talks will be scheduled through the court, and supervised by the Veterans Support Office. Fourth, you will write, produce, and submit a court-approved short film titled Respect on the Road. The film will be no less than 3 minutes, no more than 5. It will feature real young drivers discussing road courtesy, the dangers of aggressive driving, and respect for elderly drivers. The script will be vetted by this court. You will appear in the film and narrate your own experience. No family branding, no corporate sponsorship. Fifth, you will submit a 1,000-word written reflection titled Status Can't Signal Kindness. It will address what you learned, how your conduct affected Henry Cole, and what changes you'll make going forward. It's due at your final review hearing. Judge Caprio looks up. Mercy isn't soft, Mr. Ward. It's strategic. I'm giving you an opportunity to prove that people can learn. Don't waste it. Compliance calendar displayed. Apology to Henry Cole within 21 days. Community service start date within 14 days. 200 hours to be completed within 6 months. 3. PSA talks within 90 days. Short film script submission within 45 days. Film production complete within 120 days. 1,000-word reflection, due at return, hearing 6 months. If you believe apology means action, subscribe to order in the court. Judge Caprio is not finished. Additionally, I'm making the following recommendations on the record to the Providence Municipal Court Administration and the Rhode Island Department of Motor Vehicles. 1. Establish a quarterly courtroom civility audit. Any incidents of disrespect toward court staff, judges, or officers, including throwing documents, verbal intimidation, or attempts to invoke family influence, will be documented and published in a public report. 2. Create a security camera release policy. Footage showing reckless driving or harassment of vulnerable road users, elderly drivers, cyclists, pedestrians will be made available to the public upon request under existing open records laws. 3. Implement mandatory courtroom conduct training for all first-time defendants under age 30. A 10-minute orientation video will explain courtroom decorum, the role of the judge, and the consequences of disrespectful behavior. 4. Add a veteran respect initiative to the Rhode Island driver education curriculum. All new drivers will complete a module explaining that elderly drivers, particularly veterans, deserve courtesy and patience on the road. Ms. Reyes, please ensure these recommendations are transmitted to the relevant agencies by close of business today. The first quarterly civility audit will be published on December 15th. Yes, Your Honor. First quarterly civility audit. The 15th of December, 2025. Published on court website. Public access. 6 weeks pass. Ethan Ward begins his community service at the City Veterans Support Office on a cold Monday morning in late November. He arrives at 8 a.m. Sharp, as instructed. No driver. No entourage. Just Ethan in jeans and a plain sweatshirt. The office coordinator, a retired Army sergeant named Carol Jennings, hands him a clipboard. You'll be answering phones, scheduling rides, and filing benefits paperwork. No shortcuts. No excuses. Understood. Week. 1 log entry. Ethan Ward, 8 hours. Answered phones. Scheduled 3 veteran transport appointments. Polite. On time. Week 3 log entry. Ethan Ward, 16 hours total. Assisted with benefits navigation for 2 veterans. Asked thoughtful questions about VA processes. Week 7 log entry. Ethan Ward, 56 hours total. Helped coordinate Thanksgiving meal delivery to 14 homebound veterans. Stayed 2 extra hours without being asked. Week 12 log entry. Ethan Ward, 120 hours total. Led a workshop on digital literacy for elderly veterans learning to use VA online portals. Veterans responded well. One veteran, Franklin Morris, said, "That young man has patience I didn't expect." On a Tuesday afternoon in early December, Ethan meets Henry Cole for the first time since the incident. The meeting is arranged through the court, held at a neutral location, a community center conference room. Carol Jennings from the Veterans Support Office is present as a witness. Ethan stands when Henry enters. Henry is 78, thin, wearing a navy baseball cap and a worn jacket. He walks slowly, uses a cane. He sits across from Ethan. "Mr. Cole," Ethan begins. His voice is quiet. "I'm here to apologize for what I did on Main Street. I cut you off. I blocked you. I called you Grandpa Traffic and told you to retire your car. I treated you like you were in my way instead of someone who earned the right to drive on that road long before I was born. You're a veteran. You served this country, and I mocked you for driving carefully in heavy traffic. I'm sorry." Henry studies him for a long moment. "You meant it when you said it." "Yes, sir, I did." "Why'd you mean it?" Ethan hesitates. "Because I thought I was more important than you. Because I was in a hurry and I didn't see you as a person, just an obstacle. And now? Now I know better. I've spent the last 12 weeks working with veterans at the support office. I've heard stories. I've met people who sacrificed more than I'll ever understand. I was arrogant. I'm sorry." Henry nods slowly. "I accept your apology. But understand, this respect isn't something you give when it's convenient. It's something you give because people deserve it, especially people who've earned it." "Yes, sir." Henry stands, extends his hand. Ethan shakes it. Carol Jennings writes in her log, "Apology delivered December 8th. Witnessed. Henry Cole's response, he apologized like a man, not a brand." January arrives. Ethan delivers his first public service talk at Hope High School. 94 students, ages 16 to 18, sit in the auditorium. Ethan stands at a podium. No notes. "My name is Ethan Ward. 6 months ago, I cut off an elderly veteran in traffic, mocked him, and then threw my citation at a judge. I'm here to tell you what I learned." He tells them about Henry Cole, about the security footage, about the 12 seconds of silence in court when he admitted what he'd done, about the 200 hours at the Veterans Support Office. "I thought being in a hurry gave me the right to bully someone off the road. It doesn't. I thought my last name meant I didn't have to follow the same rules. It doesn't. Respect on the road isn't optional. It's mandatory." A student raises her hand. "Did your dad try to get you out of it?" His legal office called the court twice. The judge put the calls on the public record and told me influence arrived before remorse did. That was the truth. Completion certificate issued. Hope High School, the 20th of January 2025. 94 students in attendance. Second talk delivered at Classical High School on February 28th. Third talk delivered at Central High School on March 15th. Teacher comment from Classical High. He didn't sugarcoat it. Students respected his honesty. Ethan submits his first draft of the short film script in mid-February. The court reviews it and rejects it within 48 hours. Clerk's note. Script is too vague. Lacks specific accountability. Revised to include clear admission of wrongdoing and concrete lessons learned. Resubmit within 14 days. Ethan rewrites. He submits the second draft on March 1st. This time, it's approved. The film is shot over 2 weekends in March. Ethan recruits 3 other young drivers who've completed traffic diversion programs. They sit in a circle and talk about mistakes they made on the road, speeding, texting, road rage. Ethan narrates his own story. "I cut off a 78-year-old veteran because I was in a hurry. I mocked him. I thought I was teaching him a lesson. I was wrong. He didn't need the lesson. I did." The film ends with Ethan speaking directly to the camera. Respect travels faster than any car. Remember that next time you're behind the wheel. Final film submitted March 22nd. Runtime, 4 minutes, 18 seconds. Court approval granted March 25th. March 28th. Ethan completes his 200th hour at the Veterans Support Office. Carol Jennings hands him a completion certificate and a handwritten note. The note is from Henry Cole. Ethan, Carol told me you finished your hours. I'm glad. I've been watching from a distance. You showed up. You listened. You learned. That's all anyone can ask. Respect isn't inherited, it's earned through conduct. You're earning it. Henry. Ethan reads it twice, folds it carefully, and puts it in his wallet. Late March. Ethan sits at his laptop and begins writing his reflection essay. He types, deletes, rewrites. He spends 3 days on it. Excerpt from Status Can't Signal Kindness. I thought my father's name gave me permission to treat people as obstacles. It didn't. When I cut off Henry Cole, I wasn't just breaking a traffic law, I was breaking a moral one. He served this country for 22 years. I served my own impatience for 22 seconds. When I told Officer Vega good luck with that, I was mocking the idea that I could be held accountable. When I threw my citation at Judge Caprio and said my dad pays his salary, I weaponized wealth I didn't earn. The judge gave me a choice: prove I could learn or prove I couldn't. I chose to learn. I spent 200 hours at the Veteran Support Office. I met men and women who sacrificed more than I'll ever understand. I apologized to Henry Cole face to face. I told high school students the truth about what I did. I made a film about respect because I didn't have any when this started. Status can't signal kindness. Wealth can't buy character. Respect isn't something you demand, it's something you earn by how you treat people when no one's watching, when you're in a hurry, when you think you're more important than the person in front of you. I'm 23. I have a long way to go, but I know this now. The fastest car in traffic is worthless if the driver has no respect for the road. Final word count, 1,000 words exactly. Submitted April 2nd. 6 months after the original hearing, Ethan Ward returns to Providence Municipal Court for his final review. It's a Tuesday morning, same courtroom, same bench, but this time, Ethan arrives alone. No attorney, no father, no entourage. Judge Caprio enters. Everyone rises. The judge sits. Case 2-025-TR9826. Return hearing. Mr. Ward, you're here for final review. Are you ready? Yes, Your Honor. I've reviewed your compliance file. 200 hours completed at the Veteran Support Office. 3 public talks delivered. Short film produced and approved. Written reflections submitted. Apology delivered to Henry Cole in person. Miss Reyes, is everything documented? Yes, Your Honor. All requirements met. Henry Cole submitted a written statement for the record. Read it. Miss Reyes reads aloud. Ethan Ward apologized to me in person. He didn't make excuses. He didn't hide behind his father's name. He explained what he learned and why he was wrong. I've watched his progress through Carol Jennings at the Veteran Support Office. He showed up. He worked. He listened. He apologized like a man, not a brand. I forgive him. The courtroom is silent. Judge Caprio looks at Ethan. Mr. Ward, summarize what you learned. Ethan stands. Your Honor, I learned that wealth doesn't grant permission to disrespect people. I learned that veterans like Henry Cole earned their place on the road long before I was born. I learned that when I mocked him, I disrespected 22 years of service. I learned that my father's money can't erase my mistakes. I learned that respect isn't something you inherit, it's something you earn by how you treat people, especially when you think no one's watching. I threw a ticket at your bench because I thought my last name made me untouchable. It doesn't. I'm grateful you didn't let me believe that lie. Judge Caprio nods. Officer Vega submitted a statement as well. Officer, you're in the gallery. Would you like to read it yourself? Officer Rafael Vega stands. Yes, Your Honor. I wrote. Ethan Ward was dismissive and mocking during the traffic stop. He laughed at accountability. 6 months later, I received a handwritten apology from him, explaining what he learned. It wasn't required. He sent it anyway. He learned that silence drives better than ego. I respect that. Judge Caprio picks up a pen and signs a form. Mr. Ward, you've completed every requirement with integrity. I'm waiving the suspended $400. You still owe the $580 base fine, payable in installments. Your case is closed. Thank you, Your Honor. Don't thank me. Thank Henry Cole. Thank Carol Jennings. Thank Officer Vega. Thank the people who taught you what your father's money couldn't buy. Yes, Your Honor. Would you forgive him after this? Comment yes or not yet. 3 months later, the reforms take effect. The first quarterly courtroom civility audit is published on June 15th. It documents 4 incidents of disrespect in Providence Municipal Court over the past 3 months. 2 involving raised voices, 1 involving a thrown document, 1 involving an attempt to invoke family political connections. All 4 cases resulted in additional fines and mandatory conduct training. The report is posted on the court's public website. The security camera release policy is adopted. Footage showing reckless driving or harassment of vulnerable road users is now available under Rhode Island's open records laws. Emergency response times improve by 11% in the first 6 months as aggressive drivers learn that cameras document behavior. Courtroom conduct training is implemented. A 10-minute orientation video is now shown to all first-time defendants under age 30. It explains courtroom decorum, the judge's role, and the consequences of throwing documents or attempting to use family influence. Post-training surveys show 87% of defendants demonstrate improved understanding of court procedures. The Veteran Respect Initiative is added to Rhode Island's driver education curriculum. All new drivers now complete a 15-minute module explaining the importance of patience and courtesy toward elderly drivers, particularly veterans. The module includes Ethan's short film, Respect on the Road. Driving instructors report that students respond well to Ethan's honesty. Press excerpt from the Providence Journal. From insult to impact, Judge Caprio's restorative sentence sparks statewide reforms. 1 year after the hearing, Judge Frank Caprio receives an envelope at the courthouse. No return address. Plain white paper inside, handwritten. Your Honor, I wanted you to know I'm still volunteering at the Veterans Support Office. I'm not required to anymore. I choose to. Last month, Henry Cole called me and asked if I'd help him teach a digital literacy class for elderly veterans. I said yes. We taught 12 veterans how to use the VA's online portal. One of them, a Vietnam vet named Robert, told me afterward, "You're nothing like the kid who yelled at Henry on Main Street." I told him that kid learned his lesson. I'm grateful you gave me the chance to learn it. My father's money could have bought me out of that ticket. It couldn't buy me the respect I earned over 200 hours of service. Thank you for teaching me the difference. Respectfully, Ethan Ward. Judge Caprio files the letter in the case folder. He writes a single note in his bench book. He threw a ticket and caught a lesson. On a quiet Friday afternoon, Judge Caprio reviews his docket for the week. He thinks about the case from a year ago, the young man who threw a citation at the bench and learned that money can buy cars, but not character. He thinks about Henry Cole, standing in a conference room, shaking Ethan's hand. He thinks about Carol Jennings, writing in her log. He apologized like a man, not a brand. He thinks about Officer Vega, receiving a handwritten apology that wasn't required. He thinks about the 12 seconds of silence when Ethan finally admitted the truth. He thinks about the reforms, the civility audits, the camera policies, the Veteran Respect Initiative now taught in every driver ed class across Rhode Island. He thinks about the 200 hours of service, the 3 talks to high school students, the short film that now plays in driver education courses statewide. He pulls out the case file one more time and reads the final entry. Compliance complete, fine reduced, case closed with commendation. Judge Caprio writes one last note at the bottom of the page. Respect travels faster than any car. He closes the file, turns off the light, and locks the door. 2 years after the hearing, The Veteran Respect Initiative has been adopted by 17 states. Ethan's short film, Respect on the Road, has been viewed by over 340,000 student drivers nationwide. The Providence Veterans Support Office reports a 43% increase in youth volunteers, many citing Ethan's story as inspiration. Henry Cole, now 80 years old, continues to drive carefully on Main Street. He still wears his Navy baseball cap. He still takes his time at intersections. And when impatient drivers honk behind him, most now wait patiently. Some have seen the film. Some have learned the lesson. Officer Rafael Vega was promoted to sergeant. In his first speech to new traffic division officers, he told them about the stop on Main Street, the body cam audio, and the young man who learned that silence drives better than ego. Give people a chance to learn, he said. But document everything. Truth protects everyone. Carol Jennings, the Veterans Support Office coordinator, keeps Ethan's volunteer hours log in a frame on her desk. Beneath it, a quote. He apologized like a man, not a brand. When new volunteers arrive, she tells them the story. Service isn't punishment, she says. It's transformation. Olivia Tran, Ethan's attorney, now includes a clause in every representation agreement with young clients. Courtrooms don't take tips. If you're guilty, own it. If you learn something, prove it. She credits Judge Caprio's ruling as the reason she changed her practice philosophy. Gordon Ward, Ethan's father, issued a public statement 6 months after the hearing. My son learned what my money couldn't teach him, that respect isn't inherited, it's earned. I'm grateful to Judge Caprio for holding him accountable. I'm proud of the man he's becoming. Ward Global Holdings now sponsors a scholarship fund for children of veterans pursuing higher education. Ethan administers it. On the 3rd anniversary of the hearing, Ethan Ward stands at a podium in front of 200 new driver education instructors at a statewide training conference. He's 26 now. He's been invited to speak about the Veteran Respect Initiative. 3 years ago, I threw a traffic citation at Judge Frank Caprio and told him my father paid his salary. I was 23 and I thought wealth gave me permission to disrespect people. I was wrong. He clicks to the next slide. It shows the security camera footage from Main and Elm the moment he cut off Henry Cole's Honda. This is the moment I bullied a 78-year-old Navy veteran off the road because I was in a hurry. I called him Grandpa Traffic. I told him to retire his car. I thought I was teaching him a lesson. But the only person who needed a lesson was me. He advances to the next slide. It shows the courtroom, the judge's bench, the compliance calendar. Judge Caprio gave me a choice. Prove I could learn or prove I couldn't. He sentenced me to 200 hours at the Veterans Support Office. He made me apologize to Henry Cole in person. He made me stand in front of high school students and tell them the truth. He made me create a film explaining what respect actually means. Another slide. This one shows Henry Cole shaking Ethan's hand in the community center conference room. This is the day I apologized to Mr. Cole. He said, "Respect isn't something you give when it's convenient. It's something you give because people deserve it." That changed my life. Final slide. It shows the reforms, the civility audits, the camera release policy, the veteran respect module now taught in 17 states. Judge Caprio didn't just sentence me, he reformed a system. And he did it by separating status from conduct. He showed me that justice isn't about punishment, it's about restoration. It's about turning insult into impact. Ethan pauses. I'm standing here today because a judge refused to let my father's money erase my mistakes. I'm standing here because a veteran forgave me. I'm standing here because 200 hours of service taught me what 23 years of privilege couldn't. Respect travels faster than any car. The room erupts in applause. After the presentation, an instructor approaches Ethan. Your film changed my classroom. Students don't roll their eyes anymore when I talk about elderly drivers. They listen. Thank you. Thank Henry Cole, Ethan says. He's the one who deserved respect. I'm just the one who finally learned to give it. That evening, Ethan drives to the Veterans Support Office. It's Tuesday, his usual volunteer night. He parks carefully, signals properly, waits patiently at every light. Inside, Henry Cole is waiting. They're teaching another digital literacy class tonight, 15 veterans learning to navigate VA online systems. Ready? Henry asks. Always, Ethan replies. They work for 2 hours. They help veterans file claims, schedule appointments, access benefits. At the end of the night, one veteran, a Korean War vet named Thomas, shakes Ethan's hand. You're good at this, son. Thank you, sir. I'm still learning. We all are. As Ethan drives home, he passes Main and Elm, the intersection where it all happened. He slows down. He signals. He checks his mirrors. An elderly driver in a Honda is in the right lane, moving carefully through the light. Ethan waits. He doesn't honk. He doesn't tailgate. He doesn't rush. He thinks about the 12 seconds of silence in Judge Caprio's courtroom. He thinks about Henry Cole's handshake. He thinks about Carol Jennings writing in her log. He apologized like a man, not a brand. He thinks about the citation he threw at the bench 3 years ago and the lesson he caught instead. Respect travels faster than any car. 5 years after the hearing, the Providence Municipal Court holds a ceremony honoring restorative justice success stories. Judge Frank Caprio is retiring after 38 years on the bench. The courtroom is packed. Ethan Ward is among those invited to speak. He's 28 now. He's been working full-time at the Veterans Support Office for 2 years, no longer as a volunteer, but as a paid community outreach coordinator. He approaches the podium. Judge Caprio sits in the front row. Your Honor, 5 years ago, I threw a piece of paper at you and told you my father paid your salary. I expected you to dismiss me. Instead, you taught me. Ethan's voice is steady. You could have fined me and sent me away. You could have let my father's legal team negotiate a quiet resolution. You didn't. You put influence on the public record. You separated status from conduct. You gave me a choice. Transform or pay the full price. He looks at Henry Cole, seated in the third row. You made me apologize to a man I disrespected. You made me serve the community I mocked. You made me stand in front of students and admit what I did wrong. You made me create something that would outlast the hearing, a film, a message, a reform. Ethan pauses. 5 years later, that film has been seen by over 500,000 young drivers. The Veteran Respect Initiative is taught in 23 states. The civility audits have reduced courtroom misconduct by 61%. The camera release policy has reduced aggressive driving incidents by 34% in Providence alone. He looks directly at Judge Caprio. You didn't punish me, Your Honor. You restored me. You showed me that justice isn't about who you are, it's about what you do. And you taught me that mercy isn't soft, it's strategic. The room is silent. Thank you for refusing to let my father's money erase my mistakes. Thank you for teaching me that respect travels faster than any car. Thank you for believing I could learn. Ethan steps back. The courtroom erupts in applause. Judge Caprio stands, walks to the podium, and shakes Ethan's hand. You threw a ticket, Judge Caprio says quietly, and you caught a lesson. That's all I ever hoped for. On his final day on the bench, Judge Frank Caprio sits in his chambers and reviews the case files from his 38 years of service. He pulls out Case No. 2025TR 98261 last time. He reads through the file, the body cam audio, the security footage, the call logs, the text screenshot, the compliance calendar, the service logs, the apology receipts, the reflection essay. He reads Henry Cole's statement. He apologized like a man, not a brand. He reads Officer Vega's note. He learned that silence drives better than ego. He reads Carol Jennings's final log entry. 200 hours completed. Transformation documented. He reads Ethan's reflection essay. Status can't signal kindness. And he reads the note Ethan sent 3 years ago. My father's money could have bought me out of that ticket. It couldn't buy me the respect I earned over 200 hours of service. Judge Caprio picks up his pen and writes one final entry in his bench book. Case 2025-TR9826. Defendant Ethan Ward. Charges: reckless driving, verbal harassment, courtroom disrespect. Sentence: restorative accountability. Outcome: reformation, not punishment. Influence documented, not rewarded. Status separated from conduct. Evidence preserved truth. 12 seconds of silence changed a life. Lesson: money can buy cars, not character. Respect travels faster than any car. Mercy isn't soft, it's strategic. Justice measured, moral, on the record. He closes the book. He turns off the light. He locks the door one last time. 10 years after the hearing, the case is studied in law schools across the country as a model of restorative justice. The Veteran Respect Initiative is now taught in all 50 states. Ethan's short film, Respect on the Road, is required viewing in 89% of driver education programs nationwide. Ethan Ward, now 33, serves as Director of Community Restorative Programs for the Rhode Island Department of Veterans Affairs. He's married. He has a daughter. Her name is Grace. When she asks him one day why he works with veterans, he tells her the truth. When I was 23, I disrespected a man who served his country for 22 years. A judge taught me that respect isn't inherited, it's earned. I'm still earning it. Henry Cole, now 85, still drives carefully on Main Street. He still wears his Navy baseball cap. And when Ethan visits him every other Tuesday for coffee, they talk about service, sacrifice, and the difference between status and character. You learned well, Henry tells him. I had a good teacher, Ethan replies. Officer Rafael Vega, now Captain Vega, runs the Providence Police Department's traffic division. On his office wall hangs a framed quote from Judge Caprio. Cameras don't take sides, they take truth. Carol Jennings retired from the Veteran Support Office last year. At her retirement ceremony, Ethan presented her with a plaque. She taught me that service isn't punishment, it's transformation. Gordon Ward, Ethan's father, funded the construction of the Henry Cole Veterans Resource Center in downtown Providence. At the dedication ceremony, he said, "My son taught me that the best investment I can make isn't in buildings, it's in the people who teach him humility." And Judge Frank Caprio, now retired, spends his days writing about the cases that shaped his 38 years on the bench. When asked which case he remembers most, he always mentions the same one, the young man who threw a ticket and caught a lesson. 20 years after the hearing, Ethan Ward stands in the same courtroom where it all began. He's 43 now. He's been invited to speak to a group of young defendants participating in a new restorative justice program. He looks at the bench where Judge Caprio once sat. He looks at the spot where he threw the citation 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I stood where you're standing. I threw a traffic citation at Judge Frank Caprio and told him my father paid his salary. I was wrong. I was arrogant. I thought wealth gave me permission to disrespect people. He walks to the bench. Judge Caprio didn't raise his voice. He didn't shame me. He didn't let my father's money erase my mistake. He gave me a choice: prove I could learn or prove I couldn't. He turns to face the group. I chose to learn, and that choice changed my life. Ethan tells them about Henry Cole, about the 200 hours of service, about the apology, about the film, about the reforms that came from one case. Judge Caprio taught me that justice isn't about punishment, it's about restoration. It's about turning mistakes into lessons. It's about separating status from conduct. It's about giving people a chance to prove they can change. He pauses. You're here because you made a mistake. You have a choice. You can minimize it. You can blame someone else. You can expect your family to fix it. Or you can own it, learn from it, and transform it into something meaningful. A young woman raises her hand. Did you ever see Judge Caprio again after your case? Ethan smiles. Every year on the anniversary of my hearing, I visit his home. I bring him a copy of the latest statistics, how many students have seen the film, how many states have adopted the Veteran Respect Initiative, how many lives have been changed by restorative accountability. What does he say? He says the same thing every time. You threw a ticket and caught a lesson. Now you're teaching others to catch theirs. The courtroom lights dim. The defendants file out. Ethan stands alone in the empty room. He thinks about the 12 seconds of silence 20 years ago. He thinks about the moment he admitted the truth. He thinks about Henry Cole's handshake, Carol Jennings's log entries, Officer Vega's body cam audio, Judge Caprio's measured voice. He thinks about the citation he threw and the lesson he caught. He thinks about the reforms that followed the audits, the policies, the curriculum, the lives changed. He thinks about his daughter Grace, now 12 years old, who learned respect not because he told her to, but because he showed her what it means. He walks to the bench one last time. He places a single note on the surface where Judge Caprio once sat. Your Honor, 20 years ago, you gave me a choice. I chose to learn. Thank you for believing I could. The lesson continues. Respect travels faster than any car. Ethan, he turns off the light. He leaves the courtroom. The door closes softly behind him. In the Providence Municipal Court archives, Case No. 2025TR9826 sits in a file marked Restorative Justice Model Cases. Inside, body cam audio, security footage, call logs, text screenshots, compliance calendars, service logs, apology receipts, reflection essays, reform proposals, impact statistics, and at the very bottom of the file, a handwritten note from Judge Frank Caprio, dated the day he retired. He threw a ticket and caught a lesson. That's all any judge can hope for. Justice measured, moral, on the record. Status separated from conduct. Influence documented, not rewarded. Truth preserved. 12 seconds changed a life. Respect travels faster than any car. Dramatization for storytelling and education, not legal advice or reporting.